Welcome to the Simplified Stamper. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Hey everybody, I'm going to be using this Floral Essence stamp set and the coordinating punch for this upcoming video. We've also got some really pretty colors from Stampin' Up. So, as a matter of fact, I think all of these supplies came from Stampin' Up. I did this video months ago and found it lying in the file of my iPad, and I thought, oh my gosh, I should edit it and post it. So here I'm just removing some of the sticky from my painter's tape. I use painter's tape a ton, and masks or stencils is something that I use a lot as well. Actually, I haven't pulled them out in a while, but when I was really low on supplies and I didn't have a ton and I was just starting out, stencils were my jam. I use them constantly. So if you are in need of, an economical way to, add dimension to your cards without spending a whole lot of money, I definitely would suggest getting stencils. I think this package from Stampin' Up! Was maybe like $6, and I think it came with like 4. This one's one of my favorites. It looks like lattice work in the garden, and that, your mom used to have her roses climbing on. It's just super pretty. And so here is me just kind of trying to dirty up the painter's tape, which I use for lots of things in my craft space, so that I can get that stencil to stay where I want it. And you'll also see me pulling out the sponge daubers to do the stencil work. That is something I don't do anymore. These sponge daubers are clearly, seriously, they're from the enemy. They're not the easiest things to use, and though I do use them for certain things, I use them for distressing different things when I don't want a good blend. If I want it to be chunky and I want it to be uneven and I want it to actually show some distress, I will use these daubers, and I'll also use like a paintbrush depending on how I do it. And but I do not try to use the daubers for anything that's for good soft blending, because it just doesn't work. And you'll see here that the blending, some of it's darker than others, which didn't look bad on the finished product, but it's just not what I normally would want my blending to look like. And here I am just trying to clean off the stencil and get all the ink off, which actually surprises me because I'm notorious for forgetting, and then when I go to try to take off the stencil and remove it, I end up with ink all over myself. So I think this is probably pretty amazing that I'm doing that. And here I am using Flirty Flamingo to stamp these flowers. I'm going to put these flowers in Flirty Flamingo, and you're going to see they stamp beautifully. I absolutely love this set because it's so even and gorgeous. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. Look how pretty that is, seriously. And I'm just going to kind of randomly move them around, basically making it look like these flowers are kind of climbing the trellis, but I didn't want to put too much of the flower in front of that the stencil because it would show through. So this is kind of my improvising between those. The stamp set is really versatile. I guess flowers in general are. If you're looking to get, I have people ask me all the time, if I'm just starting my stamping journey and I don't have a ton of designs, what do I get? And I always say start with a flower set and a birthday cake or a birthday party something set. Those two seem to be the most versatile. After you get some flowers and something birthday cake, birthday themed, you can do quite a bit of cards. You can even, if you do it right, you can even get like new baby out of a birthday set and things like that. And then flowers, obviously, you can do birthday, anniversary, sympathy, get well, things of that nature. So you can really get yourself set up with just those two types of designs. And then make sure you have 1 or 2 stamp sets that are focused on just sentiments. So you can definitely get a lot of bang for your buck with just those two types of designs. And like I said, sentiments. You can never have too many sentiments. I have purchased entire stamp sets just for sentiments because I liked the sentiments in it. I think that's the one thing you'll realize is that all of a sudden you're like, dang, I don't have enough sentiments. I've got all these beautiful images, but then I don't have enough sentiments. So I think every stamper goes through that there for a while, and then that's what becomes your obsession for a while. And here you can see I'm just scattering about the leaves. I've put in the solid 3-leaf sprig, and now I'm putting in what I call this lacy leaf. I absolutely love those. And then now we're going through and putting in the centers. You'll see these flowers just come to life with the centers once the centers are put in. I almost kind of, when I first got this stamp set, thought, oh, you can keep the centers white, and technically you can, especially if you're using dark paper. It's really pretty. But I think that's what kind of got me. It's like, oh, the darker papers makes those centers black. And that's really what you need. You really need a dark center. It makes the whole flower itself pop. It's like amazing. So you'll see me, and each flower has its own center. They're shaped just to go inside those individual little nooks in the center of the flowers, and they're so pretty. See how that pretty that black is with that? I almost did yellow because you'll notice I do lots of yellow flowers. So I thought, ooh, yellow center, but there was something about the black that just looked fantabulous. So I just have a couple of more centers here to put in, and this one's like a different shape. Like I said, they're all different. So this one's like a little fan, and I think I even stamp it off so you can see. See, it's like a little fan-shaped center, and they go in those littler flowers. Something extremely satisfying once the centers get into them. I can't believe I've had this video. It's probably been 8 months or more that I've had this video on my iPad, and I didn't realize it was there. So I'm looking at this as I'm doing the edit, going, I really need to make another one of these cards. This particular card, I almost always use panels now and stamp on panel and then affix that to the card. But really, the only thing being stamped on a panel is these flowers here, and then I'm fussy cutting them out. All the other part of the card was actually stamped directly onto the card. Here I'm using blender pens and my ink pad to color in these flowers. If you do not have a lot of supplies, blender pens are your friend. To this day, I do not have markers that match my ink pads. I know they sell them. They're just not high enough on my priority list. I'd rather have more images right now. So I use these blender pens. They're awesome. It's just got a clear fluid in it, and it picks up the ink from your ink pad, and you can color with them. And then once you are done, you just kind of color on the paper until the color comes off your marker, and you can reuse it. I've used the same blender pen for a year. And so you can see here that I've done doing the coloring, and now I'm just going to fussy cut them out. I don't think I'll actually, see, there we go, done through the magic of video editing. And here I'm going to distress the flowers a little bit. I want to break up the fiber of the paper and give it a little bit of a 3D effect so that it's not so flat on the paper. I've come to believe that the difference between good and great card designs is depth. So creating depth by kind of bending this paper really makes these flowers pop off the page and gives you the 3D effect. And now I've just got to arrange them on the page. There is an actual punch that goes with that 3-leaf stamp, and I have it now. I did not have it at the time of making this card, so now I'm going, oh, I got to remake this card so I can have my leaves come out as well. I think that'll look great. You see that little white space right there? It's driving me batty. And I tried to put a leaf in there like 3 times while making the card, And see, look, now I had to go back and put in a leaf so it didn't have that white space. Now I'm using tear and tape on the back of these. I really love tear and tape, but I also use Barely Art liquid glue. If you are looking for a good liquid glue, I'm not affiliated, but I can't say enough good things about Barely Art liquid glue. They're a fairly new glue company, but the glue is like amaze. I do use the tear and tape a lot as well. I kind of flip-flop between the two depending on what I'm doing. So at that time that I was making this card, all I was doing was using tear and tape. But after finding Barely Art, I use liquid a lot as well. So, but here's this. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put them. And then you'll see that I also throw up here on the page a different card made the same way with beautiful crystal centers. So here are the two cards. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye! Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can find more of the Simplified Stamper on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest.